the cars are heading down towards the last couple of corners. The safety car is in. We're getting ready for the start of the HSCC Historic Formula 2 race. They had a dry race on the Saturday. It's going to be a fully wet race on Sunday, and pole man Matthew Wrigley looking for 2 successive victories. Andrew Smith on the outside in the yellow machine. Miles Griffiths in the Ralt, the white car, number 19 on the inside, starts in 3rd, and then it's Matthew Watts in 4th place as we get ready to go. The race is underway, and Matthew Wrigley from pole position charges up towards Abbey Corner. Who's going to claim 2nd? It looks like it's side-by-side action between Miles Griffiths on the inside, Andrew Smith on the outside. Andrew just gets in there in the yellow march, the 7-4 1974 car, as the race leader Matthew Wrigley turns in at the village and has got a comfortable advantage, so he can choose his line. He can decide, yeah, going a bit wide, change of choice for Andrew Smith in 2nd. He takes a slightly tighter apex line, but he keeps the pressure on right now. 1, 2, 3. So very much as they were on the grid. And I think it's still Matthew Watts in 4th place. He started in 4th on the grid. Clear air and a bit more visibility is a major advantage when you're out in front.
And picking your braking point, first time into Brooklands there, down the long Wellington straight. Where do I push the brakes, and how much grip am I going to have? Well, Matt Wrigley's going for the long outside wet line, as we're calling it, and Andrew Smith chooses a slightly tighter line through Luffield. But look at Miles Griffiths just wiggling there as he puts the power on, just drops the wheel onto the curbing, down the Old Pit Straight into Copse Corner. Still Matt Wrigley leads from Andrew Smith in 2nd place and Miles Griffiths in 3rd. Turns into Copse. Now they'll go slightly uphill to the rise and then over the crest at Maggots, and Miles Griffiths close behind, but it's so wet, very, very difficult to see exactly where you are on the track.
Yes, indeed. Well, watching that closely. Keep an eye also on a car that had to start quite near the back. That was Nick Ting. Because he had problems yesterday and he could well move up through the order, but it's early days as yet. We've still got this battle up front between the top 2. Matt Wrigley has still got the advantage in the number 78 car, chased by Andrew Smith as they head down towards Stoke-on. The spray, when you're following a car like that, so difficult to see where to pick your braking point, where to see your turning point, but he's doing it, he's staying close, as is Miles Griffiths in 3rd. These 3 are pulling away somewhat from Matthew Watts in 4th place. It looks like it's going to be a 3-way battle up front. Let's just see how close they are as they come across the line. The gap's going to be pretty tiny. It's got the first lap, and it's Wrigley who leads by just 0.6 of a second. Smith in 2nd, Griffiths in 3rd, and the 3 of them covered by less than a second. Then there's quite a big gap back to Watts and Martin Stretton. Stretton actually trying to get past Matthew Watts, but hasn't managed to do so as yet, as our race leader taking full advantage of not following in the slipstream and in the blocked view that is certainly the case for Andrew Smith.
And in the slower sections of the circuit, such as there through the loop and now through Aintree, there's slightly less spray, so Andrew Smith is able to see exactly where he is, but now he has to pull out of the slipstream of Matt Wrigley as they go down the Wellington straight. Then he jinks back in again because he needs to take the line for the left-hander at Brooklands. It's so difficult to spot exactly your braking points, but they're doing a great job as, again, Wrigley goes for the very wide line. Andrew Smith starts tight, but then lets the car drift out wide as they go through Luffield. Now they're on the power again through the fast right-hander at Brooklands onto the Old Pit Straight as they go down towards Copse Corner. Miles Griffiths still there in the background, but not just yet challenging Andrew Smith.
So we've got a March 718 leading, a March 7-4 car in 2nd place, having a little wobble on the exit of Copse, and then the Ralt RT1 chasing them down as well. These 3 well ahead of the opposition now, which are doing their own separate battles, no doubt about it, but it's the fight for the lead, isn't it? You get the feeling that Andrew, if he can get in front, he's got some great pace at certain sectors of the track, and he may well be able to pull out a little bit of a lead. He seems to be able to catch up. It's very difficult to do so in these kind of conditions, but to run this close, if he can just find a little bit of pace. Down the straight, there's no doubt that Matt Wrigley's car is quick. He's got a little bit more straight line speed, but into some of these corners, I think Andrew's got a little bit more pace himself, but can he find a way through?
I wonder whether Andrew is just testing some positions where he might just try and outbrake Matt Wrigley. You see there, he went very tight into Stoke Corner. just checking whether he could brake later there and slide up the inside of the leading car. And Miles Griffiths closing up behind him as well. And as you say, it seems to me as well that the leading car is slightly quicker on the straights, but Andrew Smith in the older car is slightly quicker in the corners as they come up to the right-hander and turn in and then up through the right and left of Beckett's.
I'm just thinking, I mean, you watch these cars in these conditions and the spray, that sort of huge amount of spray that comes off the back of the car. It's like, it's almost like if you're an aerodynamics fan, you can sort of see the airflow of the car, especially on the higher speed sections, how the air just picks up the water. And in fact, when you think to next year, what they're trying to do with the new rules of Formula One is to make that stream go up more steeply and up over the car behind to less affect the loss of downforce. You're almost getting a display of how the downforce of a car following the one ahead is effective. That water spray is showing us just how difficult it is, that turbulent air that you're then entering your car into if you're in second or third place. So it's quite an interesting image, but makes life difficult. Big wobble again there for Miles Griffith.
Yeah, he's really starting to put pressure on Andrew Smith, isn't he? And that pressure is meaning that Andrew's having to be a little bit more defensive, and he's dropping back a little bit for the leader as Miles Griffiths goes for it at Cops Corner, but doesn't get through there. Andrew Smith turns in and holds the line, and actually Miles lost a little bit of time there in that attempt, and he's dropped back off the back of the yellow car of Andrew Smith as they come once more up to Beckett's, and through they go and then down the hanger straight. Now this we know is where Andrew Smith is a little bit quicker, but then he loses out on the straight. But can he make a dive for the lead on braking for Stoke?
It's tricky out there, there's no doubt about it. Callum Grant, by the way, has made a bit of ground. He started in 12th place in the Formula Atlantic car. These conditions could well suit him as well. He's got up to 8th place now, so that is a good gain. Whether he can do any more, he's behind the Silver at the moment. The second, the gap between the two of them. In fact, the Silver just got past Weldon, so that is a good gain for the Silver. Surely he can go further up the order as well. These conditions seem to be suiting him. 3:35 Chevron. The leaders are pretty close together again, though, so having lost a bit of ground, Andy Smith is back into second, but closer, not back into second, but definitely closer there with the gap down to less than half a second. And Miles Griffiths, that tiny distance further back. These three still pulling away from the rest of the opposition, which is led by Matthew Watts. The spray still being kicked up at every part of the track right now. The wide line from the race leader, the tighter line, we've seen this quite common here. Wrigley loves the wide line there, but Andrew Smith, also it takes him out of the slipstream of the car ahead. Sometimes that can be a benefit. Get yourself into some clear air, you'll get a bit more downforce. That 1974 car probably not generating a huge amount of downforce, it has to be said. Is that Ryan Morris, I think, who might have gone wide, but he's recovering, getting back on track, so hopefully that isn't going to cause any major issues. Another wide line down at Luffield Corner for our race leader, and a tighter alternative line for the man in second, but still no way through. Oh, Callum Grant has gained another place as well, so Callum Grant now up into 7th place in the Formula Atlantic March 79B.
Now coming up to some slower traffic, Andy Smith just showing his nose to the leader Matt Wrigley, saying don't forget I'm here, and Matt Wrigley not fazed by that at all. He's concentrating on passing that slow car who keeps well over to the right hand side of the track as they come up to Beckett's once again. And certainly the three leaders have closed up, haven't they? They did get slightly strung out last time around, just a few car lengths between them. Now it's one car length first to second about, and then Miles Griffiths close behind in third as they go through Chapel Curve onto the hanger straight. We know that Wrigley has a little bit of an advantage here. Andy Smith stays out to the right, just out of the spray, and now he jinks back in to get the best line for Stowe Corner. And Miles Griffiths has a little bit of a go at Andy Smith there into Stowe. In fact, in the spray there, it almost looked like he touched him, but I'm sure he didn't.
I don't think he did quite, but I thought he was going to hit him. You're right, it was so close between them. Sidney Silver's still moving up, he's done well. He's into 5th place and putting into together some good laps as well. Callum Grant in 7th, as I mentioned. A little gap between him and Martin Stretton. Stretton hanging on in there in in 6th place, but there's really little to choose between our leaders. Weldon has dropped back, I notice now, in the number 88 car. I think he may have a problem, or whether he's had an incident, I'm not sure. That's Mark 762, but back with the leaders, and again is another attack coming up here from Andrew Smith, and he's getting alongside now. Andrew Smith has got a real chance of taking the lead. They've got the alternative lines through the left-hander, but Andrew can let it run a little bit wide. He's got in front. So having fought so hard for lap after lap, with 10 minutes to go, Andrew Smith takes the lead at the historic Formula 2 race.
And now it's the long Wellington straight, so will Matt Wrigley be able to pull out? He's going to try. He's got more speed, but they're already thinking about braking for Brooklands, so there's no room there. And Miles Griffiths now fancies a go at getting past Matt Wrigley into Brooklands. Now they're up to Luffield. We know that Smith will go tighter. Wrigley goes very wide. Griffiths tries to go up the inside. He'll try and take a tighter line through the end of Luffield and come out alongside, but he doesn't do that. He just can't hold the car in these slippery conditions as they go through Woodcote Corner. So a new leader as they're going down towards Copse is Andy Smith. More traffic ahead of them. Then it's Matt Wrigley. Then it is Miles Griffiths in the roll. Miles trying once again into Copse Corner to take that second place away from Wrigley as they now head uphill towards Beckett's.
Wow, this is a fun event, isn't it? No doubt, in these conditions, the fact that they can race so closely, but it is Andrew Smith who is beginning to build up that gap. We did wonder whether he had a bit more pace, if he could only get in front, and sure enough, he has proven it to us. But what's intriguing is that Miles Griffiths has still got good pace in that vault as well, and is keeping the pressure on Matt Wrigley. So Matt, who was the winner in the dry yesterday, finds himself in 2nd position right now, and under threat from the white vault as they head down towards Stowe Corner. Behind them, still that big gap to Matthew Watts, who's holding on to 4th, but De Silva is right behind him now, and he's been making a little bit of a charge as Tim De Silva. And in fact, De Silva's just gone up into 4th in the background, quite a long way back from these guys, but that's been a really good recovery drive from Tim, more than a recovery really. He qualified pretty well. He was 6th on the grid, but he's now got himself into 4th position. I think he lost a little bit on the opening lap, but he's made back up for that. And a quick lap from Wrigley on that lap, but not enough to stay with the race leader, who has now opened up an advantage of 2.1 seconds. Let's see if we can spot the number 3 car of Tim De Silva. There it is, coming through, now up into 4th place, having got past Watts, and there is Martin Stretton in the number 34 car. It's a much earlier march, this one, Alistair, with much less downforce, so of course it's slipping and sliding.
Yeah, it's from the era of Formula 2, which was 1600, although Martin does have the 2-litre engine in the back of this. But as you say, completely almost devoid of any aerodynamics there, just the simple wings back and front. And the leaders now up towards, here they come down to Brooklands, actually already down to Brooklands, and it's still Matt Wrigley in 2nd place, with Miles Griffiths trying everything he knows to get through. He also favours that very wide line in the first element of Luffield, and actually runs the car all the way around the outside. And every time he comes out of Luffield, he just puts a wheel on the curbing and gets it a bit sideways. It's almost like he wants to do that, but I'm sure it would be better to stay on the grippier part of the track. But Miles is a racing driver who knows exactly what he's doing, and looks for a way through there on the inside of Copse. They're going up the hill towards Beckett's once again, and we're really in amongst the slower cars. They're lapping almost every corner now.
Yeah, and that makes life difficult, but the race leader is dealing with it. Andrew Smith has opened up that gap to just over 3 seconds over his opposition now, which is still the fight for 2nd place as they continue to lap some of the other cars from further down the order. Griffiths still in 3rd place, as I say, with De Silva now in 4th position. Griffiths is having a look around, seeing whether there's any opportunity. The wetness out there, the spray still making life very, very difficult, isn't it? And still that little bit of rain is falling. We're not getting any track drying up at the moment. It's continual, gentle rain that is just keeping the track fully wet for now, but they are on their wet tyres and they can still race hard, as we are watching right now. Through Cup Corner, another lap completed. We've got 5 3/4 minutes still to go.
Might see the lead gap has gone down, yes, by about a second. I was about to say, I think we'll see the lead gap slightly reduced, because we saw Andy Smith there getting caught behind a couple of back markers going into club corner, so he had to just back out of that and wait until the exit to get past. But I don't think there's any major issues for Andy Smith. He's just picking his way through the slower cars. He's aware that it's very difficult for them to see him, of course, although the marshals will be waving blue flags, which indicates to the driver that there's a faster car coming through.
Faster cars, I'll tell you what, Silver's doing a good job. I know he's a long way behind in fourth place. His last lap was actually quicker than either of all of the top three. Not by a huge margin, but about a second faster. So Tim Silver in the wet, he's really putting it together well.
Yes, he made his way through from, was it 6th, I think, on the grid.
Yeah.
He's up in 4th now, got past Matthew Watts and Martin Stretton. Stretton still trying to get past Watts. He's only less than half a second behind. Hasn't been able to find a way through.
So many big changes further down the order. Very difficult when you're down near the back in that wall of spray to make much progress. But it's easy for these guys either now that they are lapping some of the back markers. Our race leader is still Andrew Smith. But I tell you what, as we saw in the historic touring car race earlier, you might be leading a race. No guarantee when you've got conditions like this. We saw the Sierra spin out when it was leading, and Andrew has to keep on top of everything here in his number 77 car to try and hold on to victory. He finished second to Matt Wrigley yesterday. Can he hold on for the win on this occasion and be one apiece? And Niles Griffiths is all set for another third place, but he wants that second place. He keeps trying, he keeps pushing on. So far he hasn't forced Wrigley into a mistake. So for anyone to make an error here. Again, he's making a little bit of an attempt down at Stowe Corner, but not fully alongside. Can he try a different line into Club? Not quite. It's quite a fast sweeping entry here. A slightly different version of the Silverstone circuit to what we see when Formula One's at the track. It gives them a little bit more of a rhythm in a way through that section. The leader now lapping some of the other cars further down the order. The number 55 car of Stephen Footer is about to be lapped as well. There is Martin Stretton. Now he's in 6th place. I'm just trying to see how far behind him is Callum Grant. He's not right behind him, that's for sure. He's about a second further back in his Formula Atlantic car. And actually Watts has dropped back a little bit, hasn't he? So yeah, they've now gone 5th and 6th. Callum Grant in the number 76 car. Just keep an eye out for the number 76 car. About a second behind Martin Stretton here. We could see a little bit of a rivalry developing in the closing moments of this race, but we are getting towards the end with just 2.5 minutes there. There we go, there is Callum Grant. So that is a Formula Atlantic car. It has a tuned 1600cc engine, different category to a certain extent, that was introduced. It was run successfully in the US. It was introduced into the UK, and it ended up being combination races really of Formula 2 and Formula Atlantic cars. And Callum Grant is a very rapid single-seater racer, mainly in historic and classic Formula Fords, has been his thing in recent years. His family build and restore Formula Ford cars very beautifully as well, and he is definitely on the game here.
He certainly is, yes. He's caught right up with Martin Stretton, and we've got 1 minute and 3/4 remaining in the race, and then we're back with our leader Andy Smith, who's surprise surprise having to get past some slower cars. He's just constantly meeting traffic. Now you have to be so aware when you're racing at this level in these conditions of what's around you, and Andy Smith is really forging the path for the leaders through the slower cars. By the time he's been through, they're aware that they're coming, so they might be slightly more aware of Matt Wrigley and Miles Griffiths coming up behind them as they come up to Club Corner.
Sorry, yeah, just coming into that last corner, this is maybe a bit of a chance as we've got a bit more lapping to do. You can see that has definitely affected Wrigley more than it did Griffiths, but on the exit, again, Wrigley gets the power down, pulls away. Just wanted to make a quick note. Andy Willis started this race in 38th place, and he's got himself into what is now 15th place. So well done to Andy Willis in car number 73. That's quite an impressive drive through the field. He might not be up near a podium finish, but if you look at the screens on the left, Andy Willis in 15th place, up some 23 places. How about that? That's a remarkable drive through the field. Well done to Andy. But up front, it's another Andy. It's Andrew Smith who leads right now, with Wrigley holding on to second bit by bit from Miles Griffiths. I wonder if there's a bit of sense of frustration now for Miles, because he's been there lap after lap after lap. We are on the final lap now, and it looks as though he's running out of time. It looks as though he's going to have to settle for another third place, but he's not given up yet.
Absolutely not given up, no. He thought there might be an opportunity there when they passed that slower car, but actually he kept so far over to the right that it didn't affect the second place car of Matt Wrigley at all as they come through Luffield. And then once again Miles Griffiths puts that left-hand rear wheel onto the curbing and gets that drive out of Luffield down the pit straight towards Copse Corner, and into Copse they go. No effort there from Miles Griffiths, not close enough, but they are coming up on some more slower cars just ahead of them. Meantime, Andy Smith in the lead will be making his way through Beckett's for the last time as the second. There's Andy Smith now through the gloom. He is just coming through Beckett's, and he's got one further car to pass through Chapel, and then he's onto the Hanger Straight, and that long shot down the Hanger Straight, we can really see the murk that they're driving into.
They are, but I tell you, they've done so well. I'm surprised we haven't seen more cars just flying off the track in these conditions, or running into each other, because it is so difficult out there. But this has been a super drive by Andrew Smith, who started on the outside of the front row, hounded the race leader Matt Wrigley for quite a while in the early stages, and he has driven beautifully, so controlled. He has kept it together throughout, through the final corner, and the victory in the historic Formula 2 series goes to Andrew Smith today, who beats the man who won in the try yesterday, Matt Wrigley, who just holds on to that second place from Miles Griffiths. And Miles would not give up, but fair play. In the end, Matt Wrigley held on to second place. Miles will have to settle for another third place finish. Well done to Tim De Silva, who fought his way up to fourth place. In the end, he couldn't close that gap any further, but again, his last lap was pretty rapid, I have to say. Behind him, we saw Martin Stretton finish fifth. Callum Grant move up to sixth and 12th on the grid. So that was a good race indeed for him, and various other drivers that made good progress. But most congratulations go to Andrew Smith, who delivered a superb drive, found the right time to overtake the man who had led pole position, Matthew Wrigley. And they are now giving the fans and the marshals a happy wave to celebrate the second race of the weekend in the historic Formula 2 series, and provided us with some good entertainment. I have to say, well done guys, really, really impressive.
I'm going to jump in just before we finish here. Once you got past, it seemed like a sort of relatively easy race, but how difficult was it getting through all the traffic?
I wouldn't have said it was an easy race at all. As soon as I got past, we were then into traffic, which creates nearly as much spray as following someone. I was actually praying for a red flag, but I didn't have as much luck as Matt had yesterday. Yeah, in those conditions, its visibility is the biggest problem. It's certainly if you're following really closely behind a car, you can't see anything, you can't hear anything, you can't see the edge of the circuit, you don't know where to turn in, where to brake. Yeah, it's real heart and mouth stuff.
Matt, a very busy race for you, and a lot of your time spent looking in the mirrors. It must be so difficult trying to defend in that weather.
Yeah, the first few laps was just a case of trying to keep it on the track, not make any mistakes, and you sort of get into a rhythm. But then as soon as Andrew overtook me, I recognised he was doing completely different lines to what I was, and there's quite a bit more grip. So the problem was, by the time Andrew got past, he pulled probably 3 seconds pretty quickly. So you just try not to be a chicken in that weather, really. But it's it was great fun, and if someone said first and second over the weekend, I would have taken that with both hands.
Well done to all of you.